Okay, so here we have a reading for this week. So, The King and the Wrestler. Okay, so this is from the Three Funny Tales by Ida Wignall. So that's the Folan's reading pack. So what do you think this story is going to be about? So I want you to tell me three things that you think this story might be about. So the King and the Wrestler. So maybe one thing about the king. So why is the king talking to a wrestler? Maybe where are they talking? Maybe they're in Ireland. Maybe it's a long time ago. Maybe they're in Dubai. So this could be anywhere. So the king, the wrestler. So I want you to come up with 3 sentences. And you have to say them out loud. So 3 sentences about the king and the wrestler. Okay, so what could they look like? What might they be doing? The king and the wrestler. Okay, so now we're going to read through this story and we're going to answer questions based on this story then after, alright? So, start off again. So, a wrestler came to the king's palace and told the king how brave and strong he was. I can fight wild animals, he said, and I can even walk around with a huge mountain on my head. That's very interesting, said the king thoughtfully. He had never heard of anyone who could walk around with a mountain on their head. No one will pay me to do this work, the wrestler continued, so I'll come and work for you if you wish. The king was delighted to hear this because the wrestler looked strong enough to carry mountains and fight wild animals. I'll pay you a high wage to work for me, said the king. So the wrestler started to work for the king. Okay, so if we had found the wrestler, what would we think as well? So we see the strong wrestler, what does he look like? So in your head, think about it. Is he tall? Is he short? Is he wide? Is he skinny? What's he look like? Where is he from as well? What could his name be? Would you like to meet this man? Or would you not like to meet this man? Very strong man. He could be dangerous, we don't know yet. Okay, so we don't know if he's good intentions or bad intentions with the king. So he could be trying to trick the king. Maybe he can't carry mountains on his head. Or maybe he's being truthful. Okay, so what do you think? So, truthful or lying? So think about that. Choose one. You have 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's see. Near the city, there was a huge mountain where many wild beasts lived. All the people in the city were afraid of them. So one day, the king called for the wrestler and said, "Remember you told me you could fight wild animals and carry a mountain on your head?" "Yes, I remember," replied the wrestler. "Well," said the king, pointing over the city wall, "over there, not far away, is a mountain where wild beasts live. All the people in the city are afraid of them." Okay. "I can see the mountain," said the wrestler, looking towards where the king was pointing. "This is your job," said the king. "You have to take the mountain far away." "I can do that," replied the wrestler. Okay. So who thinks that the wrestler is actually going to be able to move the mountain? Is that possible? Let's think about that. Do we know anyone who can move a mountain? Don't think so. So do we think that the wrestler will be able to do it? Maybe. Okay, let's go. Let's keep going. Okay. The next day, just as the sun was rising, the king and his soldiers took the wrestler to the foot of the mountain. The wrestler flexed his muscles and stood ready to do his job, but he did not move. He did not pick up the mountain. Soon the king said, "Why are you waiting? Pick up the mountain, put it on your head and take it far away." But the wrestler replied, "I told you I could carry a mountain on my head." "Yes," said the king, getting angry. "Yes, yes." The wrestler continued, "I did not say that I could lift it. First, your soldiers must pick the mountain up and place it on my head." "Oh," said the king, and not knowing what to do now. "When the mountain is on my head," said the wrestler, "I will take it to any place you want." Okay, so can he really lift the mountain and carry it on his head? I don't think so, because first the king would have to actually be able to lift the mountain off the ground, so he'd have to get hundreds and thousands of soldiers, and then they'd have to be able to try lift the mountain on top of his head. So is that possible? Don't think so. So was the wrestler being truthful, or was he lying? So he was lying, wasn't he? Okay, so do any of you think that you could lift a mountain on your head? No, don't think so. Okay, so we're going to go back through some of the words. So there's some highlighted words. I'm just going to go through the meaning of them. Okay, so the first one is wrestler. So what's a wrestler? So is a wrestler a boxer? No. Are they a runner? No. So it's a different type of profession. So a wrestler is someone who grapples. So they don't box, they just grab onto each other and they try and knock each other out of the ring or try pin each other down for a few seconds. Okay? So that's a wrestler. So I'm sure we all know the WWE. That's it's a show over in America. So it's not exactly true. There is proper wrestling over in America that they do in high schools and after high school. But WWE is more of a show than an actual wrestling organization. Okay, so a mountain, huge mountain. So what's a mountain? Is it a small little lump in the road over there? Is it a speed bump? No, a mountain is huge, so it's massive. So it's a massive hill, and it usually takes a few hours to scale it. So to walk up it usually takes a few hours. So do we know any mountains in or around Dublin? Mary, do you want to help us? Any mountains in and around Dublin?
The big Dublin Mountains.
The big Dublin Wicklow Mountains, don't we?
Yeah.
So we can't see them from here. No, I don't think so. Not today, anyway. It's too cloudy today. Okay, so the Dublin Wicklow Mountains. So that'd be very interesting. So interesting. Interesting means that you're intrigued by it, that you want to learn more. So if something's interesting, you want to hear more about it. It's not boring, so it's something that you really want to learn about. And the king said thoughtfully. So thoughtfully. So usually when Mr. Murphy is speaking, he's speaking thoughtfully. So he's trying to get his opinion across. So he's trying to give off all the information that he has. So I'm thinking thoughtfully. So I'm trying to think. Okay, so I'm trying to think as much as possible. So I'm not just saying stuff off the top of my head. I've already thought about it. Okay, and now delighted. Okay, so delighted. So what does delighted mean? So I'm sure when all of you heard that we weren't going to have school for another 3 weeks, you were delighted. So it means you're very happy. Although myself and Mary weren't too delighted because we still have to come to school. Okay, next one, remember. So what does remember mean? So remember means to think back and to remind yourself of something. So I remember all of your names. Okay, I remember what 7 by 2 is. I remember my birthday. I remember my name. So it's thinking back on prior knowledge we already have. So you remember. Okay, replied. What does replied mean? So right now if I asked you all to reply, you couldn't because it's a YouTube video. But if we were inside in class and I asked you what was 3 by 4, you'd all say 12, wouldn't you? So that's you replying to me. So reply, so it means you speak back when someone talks to you. Okay? And flex, so the wrestler flexed his muscles. So that's like when Mr. Murphy does this and when Evan's big man. Okay, so flex your muscle. Okay, so you flex. So it means you show off basically. So you're showing off your muscles. Okay, so muscles are also those little tiny fibers in your arm, your body, your legs, everywhere that let you move. So your muscles contract. So you contract and it expands to let it go. So it's pulling something in and then releasing something. Okay, and whenever something contracts, something else has to relax. Okay, so right now this muscle is contracted, So this muscle down here is relaxed. And if I contract this muscle down here, this muscle relaxes. Okay? So that's all of our words there. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to go through the questions that I left for you. If you need to come back to this story, I want you to read this story first. It's going to be on the class story, so read this one first. And then what I want you to do is to read it out loud, and then again the second time read it silently to yourself. Okay, so I want you to read it out loud first, and then the second time silently to yourself. Okay.